So, what are we doing here? Why is Jason not with me? This is a work trip. This is a group of travel agents. Me and Sarah are both travel agents, and we are meeting to do a Danube river cruise on AMA Waterways. But tonight we're on our own, and we're doing a nighttime viewing of the city with Prosecco on this tour. How long are we on the boat? Hour and a half-ish. But we're gonna get the beautiful views like the Parliament building from the river if we can make it there on time, which I think will be fine. So we've made our way all the way down to the river, and we've got to walk this way to get to the pier where we get on our boat. But man, it's beautiful. Everything is lit up and illuminated. It's so pretty. So we are in Liberty Square right now. They say, and he told us that a lot of action sequences and movies are filmed right through here because all the buildings right around here are 250 to 300 years old. So fit really any scenario for any European city. So the movie may not be in Hungary, but it's filmed right here because of the setting of this the square, and I can see it. It's really neat here. I just did a like 360-degree view, and all the buildings are really, really pretty. So Hungary was Russian occupied for 45 years. Our guide lived here during that time, had to serve the Russian army, had to learn, you know, Russian politics and the Russian anthem. And in 1991, the Russians were pushed out of Hungary. It is an independent country, and this is the last Russian monument that stands. And the only reason it's still here is that it is a tomb. So that's why they didn't get rid of it, out of respect for the dead. But everything else Russian was removed from the city in 1991. The architecture on the Pest side is considered eclectic because it is a mix of many different styles. The Parliament building itself is called eclectic or neo-Gothic because most of the building itself has the points that are very Gothic, but there is a dome, and the true Gothic style does not have a dome, so that's why it's got a different style called neo-Gothic. I hope I'm getting all this right. I think I am. So our tour guide has just given us some homework. She said that we need to go watch the movie Spy with Melissa McCarthy. She said it was filmed here in Budapest, a lot in this area right here, and the ending scene, there's a concert with 50 Cent, and it was filmed in the Justice Palace right across the street. So we're starting at the Imperial Palace here in Vienna, and just driving through this city is absolutely amazing. The architecture, the old buildings, the size of the buildings are just staggering, crazy. They said that the Imperial Palace has 2,500 rooms. Wow, so we've been walking up to the palace from where we got dropped off, and the outside of the palace is impressive, but when you come into these courtyards, that's when like the opulence really shows. You know, we've got these domes up here, we've got the statues. It's just, I mean, these buildings are huge. These stables were built in 1565, so that kind of helps date part of this area, because this is a building that was built over many, many years. These stables have been here for a very long time. This is St. Stephen's Cathedral, built in the Middle Ages, 12th century. And when this was built, you got to think that all of these big buildings were not here. People lived in very small homes around this massive cathedral. And at the time the spire was built, it was the tallest building, or the second tallest building in the world. So that says a lot. I mean, 12th century, that's a really high spire. You know, it's just amazing that they could build these types of structures back before any type of modern technology we have now. It took a long time to build it, but they built it right. We have arrived at Schönbrunn Palace, and I have good news and bad news. Good news is I can film the outside and the gardens and the Easter market that's in front of it. No pictures inside. That sucks, but it is what it is. We're gonna go check out this. This is the Summer Palace of the Habsburg. There's about 1,400 rooms inside. We're gonna get to see 20 of them. I'm really sad I can't share pictures. I tried to sneak one. Okay, we are inside the castle grounds now, and this building wraps all the way around like a giant horseshoe. So I'll do like a 360-degree turn and show you this. We have 15 minutes until our time slot, because you have a very specific time slot to enter the museum to see the inside of the palace. There is a giant Easter market. They're like, hey, y'all got 15 minutes, go check out the Easter market. Obviously, we can't see the Easter market in 15 minutes, so we'll just look at a couple of stalls before we have time to meet our guide. Yeah, so as you can see, this is the third Easter market we've been to today, and by far the largest. And I really hope we have some more time at the end to explore. 15 minutes ain't gonna cut it here. Okay, this is hilarious. We came over here to look at the fountain. You've gotta see the look on the woman's face. She's like, we have 10 minutes to eat our pizza pretzel. It's cold. I was expecting it to be warm. Yum. Well, we had just enough time to eat our pizza pretzel, and it's almost our time to go in. Can't take the video. I mean, I can take my camera in, but I can't use my camera inside. So I will give you a full report when we get to the gardens, because I can't record the gardens. So we were actually able to take pictures and videos in the palace. I just couldn't do it on this camera. I had to use my cell phone. So just in the 10-minute ride from Krems to Dürnstein, we learned that we are in the Wachau Valley, and this is wine country. This is where the white grapes are grown, and there's several different ones, but Riesling is grown here. Everyone's heard of Riesling. And there is a beautiful church here, and there's a castle ruin back from, oh gosh, they said that a king was imprisoned in 1192. King Richard the Lionheart of England was imprisoned here. It's a ruin now. We're not gonna get to get in it, but we can see it, and this looks so different than what we saw in Vienna yesterday. There's hills everywhere. You can see where the grapes are grown. They're staggered up, and it's beautiful. And it's apricot season, so the apricot trees are starting to bloom. Good time to be here. Okay, we're heading into Dürnstein Abbey right now. Not into the Abbey, but into the area. We were not allowed to go in there earlier as an organized group, but as individuals, we can go in there and check it out. So we're in the courtyard of the Abbey right now, and this fountain right here, which is not on, but it's still a fountain, is dated to 1670. And this courtyard, your voice almost echoes in here because of the way the building is. And the colors are beautiful. The walls are painted yellow, like gold. And there's an entrance, a very elaborate, beautiful entrance into the church itself, but the church is locked, so we cannot get inside of there. But we're hoping, I think we're gonna have to walk all the way around to try and get the church view from the front. This mirror is interesting. So it's in the courtyard, and when you stand in front of the mirror, you've got this beautiful reflection of the Abbey behind you. That's the most interesting selfie capture I've ever seen in a place like this before. So since I couldn't get in to see the monastery from the back, I'm taking the path back down. This is a little winding path through. The walls are very, very high on both sides of me. See that? And cobblestone streets. And there's this interesting smell of sulfur. Not sure why. That emanates in parts of this little walkway. And look, it gets really dark. And then looking straight down, I can see into the Danube. Okay, so I made it back down. This is the same spot that we came to on the walking tour, but it was very quick. It's just like, okay, here's the monastery. Let's turn around and go back that way. So I've got some time now to just kind of really sit and look at everything. And this is one of the many, many apricot trees here in this area where we get the yummy apricot jams and jellies and drinks and things like that. But we're here at the blooming season. So he said the blooming season only lasts about 2 weeks. We're here in March, and you can see all the blooms all over the trees. So apricots are coming. And from right here in the vineyard is the best place that I'm going to see the castle ruins. So the castle is up on the hill. You can see the old medieval city wall around it. I'm a history buff, I'm an architecture buff, and that is super cool to me, to see these old ruined city walls with a modern city. Haha, buildings from the 1600s, modern, within the walls still, and the old castle ruins up top. It's just beautiful. Okay, we are here at the Abbey of Melk, or as they say, Stift Melk. I hope I'm saying that right. And we have our group right here. We've got our tickets, and we're about to go in. And I'm going to absorb all I can from this tour and let you know what they say. I've got the information right here in my ear. The tour is over. I'm going to give you as much information as I can remember in an hour and a half. I could not vlog inside the monastery, obviously. Basically, this monastery was founded in 1122, but what you see right here was built in the 17th and 18th century. The church, the big, beautiful church inside, was completed in 1746. It took 44 years to build that big, beautiful church. A lot of great stories. The guide was very good. I can tell you that we went through several rooms. Each room had a meaning to it. The first room was very calm. It had a blue light. It represented meditation. The second room had a green light. It represented spring. And each room had that same type of feel to it. You know, a theme. Each room had a theme. They were really big on relics back in the day. What is a relic? A relic is a piece of a saint, like a literal piece of bone, or usually bones. So there were several relics in there where you could see a little piece of bone embedded in a cross or a chalice. So they finally figured out that relics don't really do anything for you, but for a long time they thought, well, if we have this piece of a saint, it will protect us. Beautiful monastery, beautiful church. Another interesting fact, there's only 19 monks that live here. This place is massive, absolutely massive. 19 monks, the youngest is 38 and the oldest is in his 90s. But this is also used as a school. So during the day, they have school-age children here, so the building's not going to waste. And of course, there are tours. We do have a little bit of free time after the tour of the monastery, and there is a panoramic terrace above the gift shop. Of course, there's a gift shop. But up here is absolutely beautiful. I'm not sure what this building is. There's a sign, I'll probably read it. But the grounds are really, really pretty, and this building's beautiful. And it's pink. Like the monastery's got this beautiful yellow gold. There's so much gold inside in the church itself. And then over here, this quaint little pink building doesn't look like it matches the monastery, but it's a beautiful location. And these trees down here, so all around the grounds, they've planted these sycamore trees, but they prune them in the shape of an umbrella, and they call them umbrella trees. So we've got our first stop in Mondi. I hope I'm saying that right. Look behind me, that is the Alps right there behind me. We started seeing them as we were on the Austrian Autobahn coming this way, and you can see the snow on the mountains, and just look at that. I mean, I've seen mountains before, but never seen the Alps. That's pretty darn impressive. So we arrive in Salzburg and hear the bells. So we got here right at noon to oh, that's a police siren. But we could hear like the bells tolling at the abbeys and around the churches right at noon. So that was really cool as soon as we got here. Our first stop is the Mirabell Gardens. Beautiful gardens, Mirabell Palace right here. We're told there's quite a few palaces around the area of Salzburg. But from here, we have a beautiful view of the fortress up on the hill. So far, so good in Salzburg. Another Sound of Music movie set right here in Mirabell Gardens. This is where the Do Re Mi song was filmed, or at least part of it. They were running all through the gardens, through the trees. I'm glad I just watched that movie because I don't remember any of that. This palace was built by an archbishop for his mistress and 15 children. And if you don't know, in the Catholic Church, the priests are not supposed to be having children. They're supposed to be celibate. So that was a big scandal, but obviously it was allowed because the church is right across the street. So behind me, definitely come up here. The views out into the city of Salzburg are breathtaking. From here you can see the mountain, you can see the Alps are all around us. You can see the city down below, the old town and the new town, the river running in between. Even on this side you can see the medieval city wall that snakes around. Unbelievable. This is just absolutely beautiful. $14.50 well spent to come up here and get this view. Holy crap, there's the Alps right there. So whenever I came out, I go straight for the city view. You know, I was like, oh, I've got to see Salzburg. Just walk around the corner. The other side of the fortress is facing the Alps. Breathtaking. It's March, so there's still lots of snow up on the mountains. I've seen mountains before. I love mountains. I live in very flat Louisiana, so mountains do a whole lot for me, and that is super impressive. Oh my gosh. I'm in heaven. I'm not sure if it's the time of day or it's the time of year, but it's like there's a haze all over the mountains. So it looks like they're not clear. I can, with my eyes, see them clearly, but through the camera, it looks like there's a haze over everything. But there's so much beautiful snow over there. So many beautiful mountain peaks. Definitely gonna have to come back here and spend more time. One day is not enough. What? There's a cafe up here overlooking the Alps? If I'd have known that, we would have come here for lunch. I like markets just fine and grand, but this is amazing. And we don't have enough time because we have only 20 minutes until we have to get back to our meeting place. So Salzburg is definitely a place, if you're planning on coming here, you need more than one day. You need more than 3 hours because that's really all we've got here. This is an incredible city, absolutely stunning. I'm so sad that I didn't get to eat lunch here. Look at that view. That is incredible. Put this on your list. Come up to the fortress and eat lunch overlooking the Alps. Put that on your have-to-do list in Salzburg. Now we have to go back to the funicular, go back down and meet our group. I Our guide has met us right here, and we are going to start our walking tour around Passau. There's a market. Everywhere in Europe we go, there's these little markets. They're all over. Fresh food. Oh my God, more cheese. And it's right across from a very beautiful church. So our tour guide is getting us a little snack. I'm curious to see what this is going to be. The European version of a food truck. It's like an actual van that they drive here, and then they pop up the side, and they're selling bacon. This is a bakery. That's cheese. There's meat over there. This is super cool. So we've been to several markets. I've never seen one set up like this before.
Oh yes, that's like our version of a hamburger. Just take one. If it's not enough, I'll get more.
So this is Leberkäse. She said it translates to liver cheese, but there's no liver or no cheese in here.
It's just a very fine.
It tastes like smoked ham to me. It's really good. Yeah, it's salty like ham. That's good. Such a great market square outside of the cathedral, and now we're heading inside. And she said it's cold inside the cathedral, so that's going to be interesting because it's nice and warm out here. This is St. Stephen's Cathedral. So I don't know if you've been paying attention, but there was a St. Stephen's in Budapest, there was a St. Stephen's in Vienna, and now St. Stephen's in Passau. So our guide has told us this was the first St. Stephen's Cathedral. This one was started around 1250 in a Gothic style, but prior to that there was a Romanesque church here as well. It took 300 years to build the Gothic cathedral, and it was finished in 1593. But about 70 years later, there was a massive fire that came through Passau, and 2/3 of the church was destroyed. So near the front, you can see still some of the Gothic that remains, but it was rebuilt in the early Baroque style. We've seen a lot of Baroque over this trip, but I finally got a good explanation of Baroque. So basically, lower in the church is plainer because that's where the people are. But as you look up throughout the church, it gets more beautiful and more beautiful. So the higher you get to God, the more elaborate the church becomes. Absolutely beautiful in there. So we looked at the forecast this morning, and it said there was a chance of rain. And we're looking up at the sky going, but it's beautiful. The sun is shining. There's not a cloud in the sky. Some people were smart and brought umbrellas. I luckily had my jacket in my backpack, which is waterproof, so the rain is actually starting. And there's a convenient little tunnel right here under the road to get you from the ship into the town. Oh, already it's cute. Look at this! There are all these giant planters filled with spring flowers just along the road here. And all the buildings have these beautiful pastel colors. Super cute. It is sprinkling just a little bit, but not too bad to run us in yet. We have not seen anyone walking through this town other than the people from our ship. It's kind of weird. It's like a ghost town. A very cute, quaint little ghost town. It's Saturday, so I mean, I think things would be open. It's not Sunday, but nobody. Okay, there just wasn't anybody on that first street we were on. We turned the corner and we found people. Still not a lot going on in this town. That's okay. Just wandering. It's cold. It's raining outside. So gelato, right? Cookies and cream gelato. Cute little shop. They serve pizza in here too, and it smells really good. But ice cream. Let me just say, this is cookies and cream. There's no cookies. Lots of cream though. But it's good. And I'm finally getting down to where I can get to the cone and the bite too. This is a really good stop. There are a lot of cute shops along this street and even a grocery store, but they all close early on Saturday. So the hours for this little shop right here says that on Saturday they're only open till 1 p.m. Bummer. All right, we've made it. I'm gonna try my pronunciation of Tralsnitz Castle. Probably wrong, but you know, that's what we're going with today until someone tells us otherwise. So we're here. I don't know how much time we have. I think we're kind of open-ended. Good thing about a private driver. So let's go on in. And there's church bells like dinging everywhere around us. It is very windy up here, so we are kind of on a hill overlooking the town down below. And there, I mean, the wind is just whipping up here. So the trees are moving a lot. You can hear the wind, but where we're standing, because we've got tall walls on either side of us, we're not feeling it yet anyway. We've made it inside and we decided to buy tickets to do the actual tour of the inside of the castle. They're €5.50 a person, and they give you all the information in English or whatever language you speak. For us, obviously English. So we're gonna actually get to see the inside. So this is the Chamber of Curiosities. There's all types of very interesting figures that have been created, and then stuffed animals. So this was 16th century, pre-scientific, and they would just find these interesting animals from around the world. Like there's just, things that we recognize. There's an armadillo. I saw a crawfish, alligators, things like that. But there's big turtle shells in here, and it was like the early museums were like these curiosities, and there's a collection here. So the second chamber is filled with exotics from around the world. So a lot of ivory in there, beautiful glass, metals from around the world. So these collections, so the people went out around the world and collected these things and brought them back to Germany. And these are like early museum items. Well, so we kind of just came outside, turned a corner, and we have this massive, expansive view of the city below. All the roofs have that orange tiled roof to them, and it matches the roof that's on the castle. That's not something I think I've ever seen before, where the castle and the town have the same architecture and truly match each other. Beautiful view from up here. And I think the wind stopped. It's not as cold. And just look at that church. It's just truly amazing to me how they built these churches so beautiful and pristine and tall. I mean, we're talking before cranes were around, and this church steeple. So we noticed this when we were driving through the German countryside, is every time you look out the window, you see church steeples everywhere. That's like how you notice where a new town is based on the church sitting right in the middle of it and the steeple coming up. Absolutely beautiful.